All right, welcome back. Let's talk the economy now. During the week, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Governor Emefiele, did say that there will be a redesigning of the country's currencies. They'll be released on the 15th of December this year, and by January 31st, 2023, all of the old currencies will no longer be legal tender. So basically, it's been a 3-month notice, and we have about a month and 2 weeks or thereabouts to make this change happen if you have the old notes stored somewhere. A lot of conversation has come out of this, whether it's political, whether it's economic. We're not sure what the intentions are. We're hoping it has the desired effect. But I have here with me Dr. Mabinori, who's a financial analyst. Thanks for being here today. Yeah. A lot of people have tied this to the elections, first of all, saying that, this is going to help vote buying. People who have stored cash waiting for February to come around now have to bring it out and go back to the CBN. There's also the talk about, trying to fight inflation. There's too much liquidity in the economy. People it needs to be mopped up, in time for, the financial year starting next year and all of that. Yeah. What do you think the intentions are here, and what do you think it will achieve? Because there's a lot of people who are also saying that this is going to have adverse effects. We're already seeing what's happening with the dollar. There's people saying people have rushed to go and quickly change their Naira to dollars and all of that. What do you think is happening and what will happen?
All right. Thank you for having me, Ebuka. For me, there is more to this policy than meet the eye. And I think CBN needs to come out plain to let us know what actually they are trying to achieve. Because if you look at it in a real sense, the economic sense of it is actually not viable, so to speak, because they are saying, if you look at money supply in the economy, that's the total amount of money in circulation. It's about 48 trillion naira. The cash, which is the cash component, is just 3.3 trillion. So if you look at the percentage, that's less than 7% of the amount of money, the total amount of money in circulation, because we have what they call M1 and M2 money supply. That's the narrow definition of money supply, and then the broad definition. So if you look at the narrow definition, the cash in circulation accounts for just 6%. So now going after that, looking at leaving every other economic policies, for me, it's just more like chasing the shadows. Fine, it's one of the objective of a CBN of managing money, of at the same time determining the amount of money in circulation, but changing currency few months to election, and this coming up the January 31st being the 30th, being for about 3 weeks to general election, presidential election, for me it speaks volume. And I think as an economist, so to speak, I've actually been expecting President Buhari to embark on this policy. In fact, about 7 years ago, I've been expecting it. They're seeing it now. For me, I'm not actually surprised. But the policy, the reason behind it is what they should actually see. I say, for me, it's more political than even economical.
But the argument is that this is supposed to be done every 5 years, and we haven't done it in 20 years.
And so what are they looking for the past 20 years that they're just doing it now?
So it's not the wrong policy. You're just worried about the timing.
Yeah, the timing is actually very, very wrong.
Why is the timing wrong when people say that the timing is actually right, considering what's coming?
Because we are saying they are doing it because of vote buying. There are different ways of going about vote buying. And I think if anybody should be jittering here, it should be the incumbent political party, because 2019 election, we also saw how billion vans are carrying funds all about, and we saw how they have done it in the Ekiti election, in Osun elections. And if you look at PDP, they have actually, any election they have won without any cash involvement and other things like that. But doing this at this time speaks volume. And if you also look at it, the goal they even want to achieve with it, for more or less, there are things that can be achieved. For instance, in National Assembly, they're actually about passing out a law. That's a political party election, and then election offences and other related matters. So that policy is there already. They're about setting up a commission to actually look at electoral offences. Now, saying you want to use CBN coming into correcting or controlling vote buying and what have you, for me is more or less like a misguided, a lost objective. So it's not one of the objectives of CBN to look into election. The one is to control amount of money in circulation. Then now looking at 3%, 3.3 trillion naira out of 48 trillion that want to control election. For me, if I want to use it to control money supply in circulation, that's less than 7%. For me, it's not a viable viable venture to go into as at this time. So now the election is coming.
Just to be clear that all of this talk about vote buying are insinuations. The CBN never said that was their intention.
But we actually read the body language. We can read the body language.
All of this. But I think what was significant for a lot of people was the fact that, the finance minister came out and said that she was not aware of this move by the CBN governor. The CBN has reiterated that he had spoken with the president, on this. Is there any conflict in any way with this? Because, the CBN is an independent body. People are saying he should have liaised with the finance minister, but he doesn't have to if he's talked to the president. Or does he have to have spoken with the finance minister?
He actually needs to speak.
But the CBN is independent.
It's independent. But if you look at by hierarchy, Minister of Finance is actually is like a landlord and then tenant. The landlord here is Minister of Finance. Why it's like having a son that is independent. It still doesn't stop me from being my son.
One is monetary policy related, one is fiscal policy related.
Yes, but in fact, we are here. We are where we are today because there's harmony between the monetary sector and the fiscal sector. Both of them need to work in tandem. In economy, there's what we call ISLM analysis. That's actually how interest rate and money supply and every other thing works in the economy. As far as the economy is concerned, the ISD. Let me quickly explain this. The ISD talks about the investment and savings, which is being controlled by Minister of Finance, that is the fiscal sector. Then we have the LM, which is money supply and money demand, which is being controlled by monetary sector. So if two of them do not work in tandem, we surely have the problem we have right now. So when Minister of Finance came out, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, to say that she was not aware, in fact, she was caught unaware, so she saw it on her, that shows that there is a serious issue going on in the two sectors, that is monetary sector and the fiscal sector. And until both of them work in tandem, until both of them work together and formulate policies that both sector of the economy will react to it immediately, simultaneously, we are not going anywhere. We're still having this problem. And now, if you look at what CBN is doing now, he has more or less, look at between when he announced it and now, exchange rate has actually fallen. So we have ripple effect, which is called domino effect of whatever he's doing right now. So if this continues, number one, people will start thinking of putting their money in foreign currencies, dollar. I'm sure they won't go the likes of what is it called, pounds, because they're about changing pounds also because of death of queen and then king and what have you. The face will surely change. So everybody will go into dollars. So we are trying to manage our flexible, our fragile exchange rates. Now you are creating sentiment again that will make people to demand more of foreign currency. And once the demand of an item goes up, we wonder that the price will surely go up. So between when they announced it and now, Naira has depreciated again. So if this continues to election period or when the period even starts, and if you also look at it, we have over 100 million Nigerians not banked. So you are telling them you are pulling people, fine, I understand what they call financial inclusion, but now pulling them at this time and again not giving enough room again. And there's so many things that begs for questions.
So what do you think happens on the 31st of January? Because I think what I hear you saying is that the policy might not necessarily be wrong. It's the timing. There's also the arguments about how short a time that has been given between December 15th and January 31st for people to have to go to the banks and do this, this switching and all of that. What do you see happening? What effect do you see this having on the 31st, both politically, on the economy, on the Naira, which we're seeing tumble at the moment?
Why one of the things that made the timing to be wrong is the festive period. They even said the banks will open till 31st, to Saturday. And if you look at, I think, 25th of December, which is Christmas on Saturday, and again, New Year's also on Saturday. So imagine on Christmas Day, is that the Christmas gift that our president wants to give us? People still going to banks to change their currency. And we all know what they call panic withdrawal, panic savings, as the case may be. So, and again, in terms of election, I don't see the date actually, coming to friction. That is, January 31st being realistic. Because if you look at it, we are going into a festive period, we are going into election period, censor is coming on again next year, and they're now putting this pressure again. A lot of Nigerians are pressured already. Look at inflation. Inflation is 20.77, unemployment at 3.3%, and if you add inflation and unemployment together, you have what they call misery index. That means 54% of Nigerians are miserable. So you're now adding this to it again. For me, it's like not respecting people's emotions. And if care is not taken, this could go out of hands. And I'm not saying it's not a good policy that CBN should not end, but I'm backing upon it right now. Means a lot. And again, not carrying the Minister of Finance along, carrying the President along, means that there is an agenda to do that they want to achieve. And if it's about curbing vote buying or curbing security, for me, it's not a direction to go about it. Even some of the insecurity, some of the bandits, they collect money they make phone calls. Why can't they trace their phone calls to get them? Why can't they look at the transfer they make to them? Now using this to say you want to use that to tackle insecurity. DSS, military and the like that there, not using CBN to tackle insecurity. It's lost purpose for me.
We're going to have to keep watching this. A lot of Nigerians are worried, but keeping our fingers crossed and hope all of this shapes up positively for us. Thanks a lot, Dotson, for joining us today. Well, like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you send us a message. I'll see you next Sunday.